My name is Milica Njegovan, and I'm the Senior Program Officer for the Skills to Access the Green Economy program. And that's being implemented by an organization called Colleges and Institutes Canada, based in Ottawa, Canada.
Today we are launching a commendable initiative for the region.
In March of 2019, the Canadian government approved a program called Skills to Access the Green Economy, and it's based in 6 Caribbean countries, including St. Lucia. And the goal of the program really is to create a more qualified workforce that's able to work in key sectors in each country that are the most affected by climate change. For St. Lucia, we pulled different ministries, education, labor, environment, and the key sector that came out as having the biggest impact from climate change was agriculture. So for that reason, 2 schools here, Sir Arthur Lewis and the National Skills and Development Center, are focusing on creating a new climate-smart agriculture program.
So I guess each island has a different focus?
That's right. So we have 6 countries, St. Lucia I mentioned, and we're gathered today with the rest of the 5 countries. So Guyana, for example, is looking at renewable energy. They're seeing very expensive utilities costs, and they're looking for a sustainable way to support their country, so solar energy primarily. Jamaica is looking at smart agriculture, is the same as St. Lucia. We have Dominica looking at sustainable building. So after Hurricane Maria, you can imagine they want to update building codes, and they want to ensure that any new build is going to be strong enough to not lose its roof, etc. So those are a few of the countries and the sectors. They vary quite a bit, and they're really based on the unique effects of climate change within each of the islands.
So the session here in St. Lucia, what do you want to achieve at the end of the 3 days?
Right. So the session here kicked off with launching the program regionally, really announcing it. We were fortunate enough to have the Minister for Agriculture of St. Lucia come to speak, the representative from ACTI, who's a regional body with the technical and vocational training in the Caribbean, speak as well. The last few days, and really today, is focusing on getting all the partners ready to implement the program. So they have 3 years to create 2 new curriculums. So new curriculums at the Sir Arthur Lewis level, which is a Caribbean vocational qualification at the 3rd level, that's looking at finishing the curriculum and enrolling young persons in it, having them graduate, and evaluating if their new skills are meeting the labor market demand. Are there companies out there that can employ these youngsters, and they bring the skills to combat climate change in agriculture? So that's the long-term output. So today we're learning about the role of gender equality in the program, which is significant. We want to ensure that both young women and young men feel that climate-smart agriculture is open to them as a career. We don't want a young woman to be trained as a farmer, to go get a job, and then all of a sudden she finds that the environment on the farm is not conducive to her well-being. She doesn't want any comments around she's a woman, she's weak, all the stereotypes. So we want to encourage both young men and young women to fully take advantage of areas that they can earn a good income and to support their families and the broader St. Lucia community through that effort. So really it's 3 planning meetings to make sure that in 3 years we have young people benefiting.
Okay, so once this is done, what's the next activity?
The next activity is we have here, along with the Caribbean partners, they have Canadian counterparts that they're working with. So there's Canadian colleges that are similar to Sir Arthur Lewis here in St. Lucia. They're partnering, and from here they each go to their island countries. So the St. Lucia and Canadian partners stay in St. Lucia. The Canadian partners with the Dominican partners will go to Dominica, and so on and so forth. And there the major output is doing a needs assessment. What state is agriculture in St. Lucia now? And then based on that they build a 3-year work plan on how they're going to change that into a climate-smart program. For Dominica, they go to Dominica, do a needs assessment of the construction sector, and figure out how can Dominica State College make that construction curriculum for young people climate smart, so that when they graduate, again, they're well equipped to deal with the new challenges of climate.
So the partnering has taken place?
The partnering has taken place, and I'm really excited about that because it's a local-led partnership selection. So what happened is our Caribbean partners created a terms of reference for what they need. What help does their institution need? And those terms of reference were given to over 106 Canadian colleges. And we in Canada ask Canadian colleges, if you're interested in working with St. Lucia, Dominica, Guyana, submit a proposal. So for St. Lucia, we received 5 proposals. They all were given to Sir Arthur Lewis and NSDC, and we asked the St. Lucian team, select 3 that you want to interview in person. They did that. We brought the St. Lucian team over to Canada, and they sat face to face, and they interviewed 3 Canadian colleges, and they picked one that they want to work with. So they said, okay, for 3 years we will work together to build this new curriculum. So that took place in November 2019, and now this is our second time meeting in person with the winning colleges to create the work plan for 3 years.
Okay. Now I know most times we have those activities, and we have another similar one, and we have a similar one. What is in place to ensure that it's measured and to ensure that it delivers?
That's a really important question. So along with the plan that the local institutions and the Canadian colleges create, what we have is a monitoring and evaluation framework. So every 6 months and every year of each 3 years of the program, we're collecting information across 42 indicators of progress. So 42 indicators that are tracking progress on creating a new curriculum, for creating gender policies to ensure both, as I said, young women and young men are equally benefiting, have equal opportunities to find work. A number of other areas like entrepreneurship. We realize we're working with small island countries. Not every student that graduates is going to be hired by a big company. So we want entrepreneurship to be monitored to make sure a young person can start their own business, or they have the tools ready to go and almost consult with different projects, and they're not relying on others to give them work. So we have those indicators, and as I said, every 6 months we monitor our progress. So we're hoping this keeps us on track. And to your comment, we're doing capacity building of the institutions themselves so that when we finish, the institutions are going to be able to continue to create curriculum that has climate change in mind and that has the employer in mind, because it should be demand driven. The employer should be saying, train young people in this so we can hire them, not train young people, for example, 100 in hair design if the country can't absorb it, right?
Excellent. Now I know at the start, Suzanne
yes.
mentioned Africa as well. So
Yes,
is there a similar thing happening?
Yes, so the model that the Skills to Access the Green Economy is following is called an Education for Employment model. And Colleges and Institutes Canada, that's implementing this program with funding from the Canadian government, is implementing similar education for employment programs in Senegal, Tanzania, and Kenya in Africa, as well as Mozambique, but also in Latin American countries in Colombia, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and Bolivia. So we're active in quite a few regions around the world looking at this model because it's proven to be quite successful, really relying on employers to say, these are the skills that we need, and making sure we train young people on those specific skills.
And it's working out so far?
It's working out so far, yes, yeah.
Of course, I want to thank everybody who was here this morning, who contributed to the success of this launch, the management of the hotel as well for ensuring that we have such beautiful surroundings to take care of our launch. And I just want to thank you and wish